Welcome back to episode 14 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the series where we find out what would happen exactly if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. Here's a little backstage, behind the scenes for you, right? For you guys, it's been like a week since I've last posted, and that's sweet. For me, it's been like a month and a half. So there was a big gap of like in the channel of stuff just didn't need done, and like there was no videos to edit, there was no graphics needed done, nothing like that. I had sweet fuck all work to do for the channel, so I thought like, oh, I'll be productive. I'll go and I'll just record another batch of Notorious Pro Wrestling, and I usually do about 4 or 5 episodes of that, and I'll put it up, and then that'll be me ahead. Oh, that was a mistake, and I'll tell you why it was a mistake. I have felt such a disconnect now from this game. It's like I had to go back, I had to rewatch episode 13. I had to like go and make sure, remind myself, okay, so what are we at? We're just after the pay-per-view. What are my future plans? What are the storylines going forward? All of it. I had to remind myself of all of it. So I want to get off my chest. So I'm coming back into this with not as much knowledge as I had before, or foresight. So if at any point I say something that completely contradicts what I've said, like in the past couple of episodes, it's because it's been a month and a half. Alright? But I want to get that out there. So what has been happening in the month and a half since I've been gone? So last time we were all here, we had our Aye Yer Ballix pay-per-view and crowned our very, very first NPW, I'm going to change it to heavyweight, but NPW Champion, okay? And the show itself was pretty good. Like 62 is, I definitely think, has been our best rated show so far. Yeah, 62 was by far our best show, so great. I'd like to say I can only go up from there, but we'll see. And a lot of our storylines pretty much had wrapped up there. The only one really going forward the only one that's really going to continue going forward would probably be Chris Hero versus Doug Williams. Also during this then, that's when we announced our women's knockout tournament for our very first women's champion, which leads me nicely into the people that we have signed thus far. All of our slots are filled bar 2, which are pending. So if I go to our roster, if I go to female and search, these are the girls that we have so far for our first knockout tournament. These were all suggested by you guys on Reddit, which reminds me, I want to say a massive thank you to the following guys who suggested some of these people. So, Pipple Snaps, CHM39, JDH328, Nido Queener, and I nearly did not get that name right, nearly said something else, Baraka Lesnar, that's a good name, that is a good name. Rice Bowls, Phenom 507, Gravy Boy, LL Cool Jess, guys, come on. Saint Sarah, Tetris Tech, Pedro Pup, Kella95, and DJ161. So a massive thank you to you guys, and I don't think I missed anyone in there, but if I did, thank you for suggestions for people who are having this. I took as many suggestions from you guys as possible because I like this idea of people watching this and being able to get involved with some of the creative choices. In terms of competitors then for the tournament, this is what we got so far. Amy Alonzi, who is a Irish indie worker who is currently working for OTT as well as us. So OTT is our immediate competitor or rival at the minute. Asuka, not that one, from Wave, who was a recommendation as well as Amy. Bobby Tyler, who I've used in previous as well, was also a recommendation. Bobby Tyler is really, really good and crazy young, like 23. So like, although some of these stats are not the best right now, they will go up. Debbie Kettle, Debbie Kettle, we'll go with Kettle. Also Irish, which is always nice to have. Killer Kelly, who I think as everyone knows, she's very big in WXW and did a spell in WWE. Maki Ito, who recently did a spell in AEW during their knockout tournament thing, eliminator tournament, I think they called it. Like that is so much green. That is a crazy amount of green to have. Maiko Satomura, so again, in real life, she recently signed with NXT. In the game, she left it for some reason. I don't know the ins and outs of why she left it in game. My only thought could be she is the owner of Sendai Girls. Maybe they wanted her to sign an exclusive contract, but an owner will not pretty much give up their company to sign exclusive contracts. You can only get them pay per appearance. So I can only wonder if possibly they tried to get her to sign exclusive and she wouldn't, and then was released that way. But don't know. But hey, that full on them. That means we get her. Nicole Matthews was one of my picks actually, because I just think she's fantastic. Like, she's so good, and she's only 34. So yeah, Push Perez is commentating. Rachel Ellering was a recommendation, and on a plus side, having her in made Chris Hero happy, which is always good. Riho, I think everyone knows who Riho is at this point. First ever AEW Women's Champion, so nice to have her in. If she's going to be a long-term stay with the company, I'm probably going to have to get her a manager, because those like entertainment stats are fucking shocking. Like really, really bad. Tennille Dashwood was one of mine. I think she's a really solid worker. Tessa Blanchard, we'll say nothing. Viper, again, just a good UK talent. Really. It's a bit of a weird thing about her is that they tried to recommend her that she works at heel, and maybe it's just me, but I always know Viper to be a babyface from her run in ICW. I think she was just the most over woman on that roster. Her and Kelly Ray, but it was always those two. Like, Viper was always the babyface and Kelly Ray was always the heel, so I don't know. I have her as a babyface, and I just fight me on it. And then finally, Zia Brookside, another NXT UK star she is still there in game. So more just a chance to kind of get her in and use her for the tournament. Would be reluctant for her to stay around. Just again, NXT UK stars have a habit of becoming all of a sudden exclusive. So those are the ones that we have signed currently. There are still 2 more pending. That is Alpha Female. Now, every time I try to sign Alpha Female, she retires like a month afterwards. So if she does it again this time, I'm going to blacklist her, because this is fucking bullshit. But we'll see. I think she's obviously... Oh, I don't like the shit. So obviously she's well known for her stint. She's well known in WXW. She's been there for... That was kind of like where she kind of first came to prominence. And she also then did a stint during the Mae Young Classic. And then she left WWE, I think, under not great circumstances. But again, say nothing. And then finally, Kelly Ray. She is, in my opinion, one of the best female wrestlers in the world. Definitely probably the top in the UK, in my opinion. She's just dope. Like, it's the only way to describe her. She's just dope. 2 reasons I wanted to bring her in. One was because of how good she was. Second was because it would be nice to kind of round out the Filthy Generation. So obviously her, the Kings of Catch, and Stevie Boy are the Filthy Generation in ICW. So it would be nice to kind of round that off in our company. So those are the 2 that we were waiting for. If they sign sooner rather than later, I might jumpstart the tournament. My plan was to start the tournament at the next pay-per-view. If these 2 sign sooner, I will start the tournament sooner. Just because I would love to kind of get that second title on the go in the company. I don't really know who I want to win it yet though. So once those 2 sign, I'll get the bracket done up, and I'll maybe make it nice, we'll see. But I'll get the bracket done up, and we'll see how that kind of... I think once the bracket's done up, I'll have a better idea of who I'm going to go with. Look forward to that in the next couple of weeks. The last thing then I want to get into before we start booking our show for tonight is the storylines going forward. So a lot of them wrapped up at the Aye Yer Ballix pay-per-view, and we kind of then needed to decide which direction we were going to go after this. So here is what we have at the minute. So as we know, we have Doug Williams versus Chris Hero. So this will continue for about another 2 months. And we'll wrap up. I believe I have a plan to wrap up at the Fear No Man pay-per-view. This is probably going to end it with Doug possibly retiring and going to a road agent role. Then we have Ace Austin vs Sonico. So this is continuing on from the Aye Yer Ballix pay-per-view 2. Ace Austin versus Jody Fleisch happened at Aye Yer Ballix and ended with the debut of Sonico. And then will later on lead to another debut of Pentagon Jr. down the line. Cyborg Wolves versus the Filthy Generation is continuing on from the Aye Yer Ballix pay-per-view as well. At the Aye Yer Ballix pay-per-view, they had a 6-man tag. Rich Swann and the Cyborg Wolves beat the Filthy Generation, with Swann pinning Lewis pinning Aspen Faith. So again, that will continue on. That'll wrap up probably by the next pay-per-view. And then 2 new ones here. So Curtis Axel and Grado. So sorry, like I said, it's been a month and a half, so I can't really remember why this is a thing, why these two are feuding, or why they're going to feud. I think, right, in my mind, I believe my plan is for Curtis Axel to join forces with Davey Boy Smith and form like a tag team with that, because obviously they're both from like wrestling royalty. And then to combat that, originally that was just going to be the end of the storyline, was they would kind of those two would come together and become a heel tag team to kind of flesh out our tag team division. A comment on the Goodbye Grado episode recommended that because Grado was not the best in ring, but he's pretty decent with his entertainment skills, possibly making him a manager. I really like that idea now. So yes, so a massive shout out to Sena Assad. If I got your name wrong, dude, I'm sorry. But yes, massive shout out to him. He came up with the idea and commented on the Obsession pay-per-view episode. So I'm going to take that idea. My plan is then, so once the heels kind of join forces, Grado's then going to try to recruit younger, slightly comedic characters, because Grado is quite a comedy character, so younger and maybe slightly comedic characters into this kind of like a babyface group faction that's maybe slightly comedic. And then we have Easton Reese versus the Grizzled Young Vets. So this will tie into a little bit into the Doug Williams versus Chris Hero storyline. Doug is not going to face for the title right away. We're going to have a number one contenders match this week. So this is more just to give Doug Williams something to do at the next pay-per-view in the meantime, until he gets kind of back into the title picture for his career versus title match. That is everything covered that needs to be covered. That was a lot. Wow, that's half an hour already. So we are going to get right into booking this week's Wanted.
I don't know why, but when I looked across, I thought the lower half of your leg was a giant testicle. Just hanging out of your shorts. I was like, you should get that checked out.
I'm so glad that I have that recorded. There you go. That's where you said giant testicle. Like, are you happy?
Awesome.
Fuck's sake. We are back for Thursday Night Wanted, coming from City West Hotel in Dublin. Didn't have to put too much on the pre-show. In fact, just one angle to kind of establish a relationship, which otherwise would just seem random. This is the show. Let's get into it. So as a part of the pre-show, this is the angle I was talking about. We get a video showing Doug Williams after his defeat at the last pay-per-view, and the Grizzly Young Vets pretty much just kind of come up and comfort him a bit. Doug Williams doesn't make an appearance this week, but next week he will be there. But yeah, so that's just kind of how, again to establish that relationship between the Grizzly Young Vets, who will play a supporting role in Doug's storyline, and then vice versa. Doug will play a supporting role in their storyline too. 35 rated angle, it's okay. Not great. And again on the pre-show, we had Sonico beat Rob Lynch in 15 minutes by submission. 45, which is solid. Sonico had a 48, which is very good, and Rob Lynch had a 43, which is not so bad as well. This just gives Sonico a bit of momentum, because he'll be featured in a feud going forward for the next couple of months, so kind of giving him as many wins as possible for that. On to the main show. So the two bitches of their P12 groups. Grado, who didn't get a win, and Nathan Cruz didn't get a win, face off. In a bout that had subpar wrestling but good heat, Nathan Cruz defeated Grado in 7:46. 25 match. Oh guys, like I know, right? I get it. You may be a bit salty about being bottom of your group, but 25, really? Grado, you are. I know I have plans for you, but bro, you gotta bring it more than that, mate. Fucking hell. Grado got 29 and Nathan Cruz got 27, and they didn't click to make a shit match even shitter. Oh, right. That is bad. Oh, no dessert for you tonight before bed. Fucking hell. After the match, Curtis Axel comes out and calls Grado a joke. Pretty much just runs him down. You know, he's the worst of the worst. He didn't get a single win in P12. Couldn't even beat Nathan Cruz. He didn't have a single win in the P12 either. And Grado snaps, and they brawl and get pulled apart. 36, which is okay. Next in a bout that had fantastic heat and good wrestling, Rich Swann Rich Swann defeated Aspen Faith in 11:14 with the chicken fried That's gotta be racist. The reason this match is happening is Aspen Faith was the guy who was pinned by Rich Swann at the pay-per-view, so it made kind of a bit more sense to have these two face off one-on-one. 44 match, which is pretty good. Rich Swann definitely kind of carried Aspen a certain amount there, so Aspen had a 34 and Rich Swann had a 55, and Aspen was off his game too. After the match then, Filthy Generation attack Swann, but the Cyborg Wolves make the save. That again is just to kind of further that kind of relationship between Rich Swann and the Wolves, and again to kind of show just how much of a dicks Filthy Generation truly are. I kind of wish I put this at the start of the show, but whatever. Chris Hero comes out to celebrate his title win, until James Storm comes out and is like, I was going to do an accent there, and I'm like, nope, don't do an accent, Hans, you're not good at them. James Storm comes out and is all like, he's feeling good after beating Rob Lynch at the pay-per-view, and he wants a shot at Chris Hero's title. Conor McGregor then comes out and is just like, guys, this is not how this works. For as much as he dislikes Chris Hero, which is something we've been hinting at, there will be a number one contenders match though tonight, where the winners of their matches from the pay-per-view, so James Storm, Easton Reese and Ace Austin, will face off in the main event tonight to decide the number one contender for the NPW title. 60 overall, which is good. Thought McGregor maybe would have pulled it up a bit more than that, but overall I'm happy enough with that. Ace Austin then cuts a promo before the main event saying he dares Sonic to show his face tonight. 44, which is good. That's actually that's probably the best Ace Austin has performed in a promo so far, so that's good. And the main event then, so Ace Austin, Easton Reese and James Storm in a number one contenders match. I also made it an elimination. So in a bout that had fantastic heat and great wrestling, James Storm defeated Ace Austin and Easton Reese in an elimination match in 2028. Ace Austin was out first. That was due to a distraction from Sonico, and then Easton Reese. So 54 overall, which is fantastic. So Ace had a 49, Easton had a 49, and James Storm, best of the best, 57. So that means James Storm then will go on to face Chris Hero at the pay-per-view for the title. Show overall then came to a 54. That's good, and increased their popularity across all of the regions. So there's no real news coming out of the tapings, but yeah, so it looks like that Alpha Female and Kelly Ray then are ready to sign. Yeah. Complete that and no! Oh no, what have I done? No, Kelly Ray, you're not a face. You are not a face. What? Oh yeah, that's a heel, sweet. Oh, good. It's a good thing you can change that before they debut. But why? I don't, is she told she's a better, no. Her attributes do not say she's a better babyface. Kaylee Ray is a babyface. Who in the absolute fuck thinks that Kaylee Ray is a better babyface? Anyway, that is it for this week on Notorious Pro Wrestling. Next week then, so as I've said before, there might be bigger gaps in when you guys come back for the action on a week-to-week basis in-game. But we will be back next week for Wanted, where we will have the start of the women's tournament, now that those two have signed, we will kind of pull that forward then, so the women's tournament will start next week. On top of that, we will also have Ace Austin versus Sonico. Ace Austin is going to get a bit of revenge against Sonico then. We will hear from Doug Williams after his disappointing result against Chris Hero in the P12 finals. And we will also have a barnstormer of a match where Grado will face Curtis Axel one-on-one. Match of the year candidate right there. Also, oh shit, yeah, we will have the debut of someone who's been, I'm sure you guys know who it is, I'm not going to say it, but the debut of someone who we've actually had signed for quite a while now, and we'll have their debut next week as well. So, thank you as always for watching. If you've enjoyed the series, do leave a comment. You guys have been great at commenting to this. So please subscribe if you haven't already. We would love to have you join our weird and wonderful family. We are, at time of recording, just shy of 700 subscribers, which is mental to think that this channel was sitting on like 50 subscribers for like 7 years. And then we started this series and all of a sudden it kind of blew the fuck up. So thank you for everyone who has subscribed, and if you haven't, please do consider subscribing. And I would love to know who you would like to see win the women's tournament and therefore be our first women's champion. The bracket will be done next week. Yeah, we'll say next week. Done next week. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time on Bash Bros.